Thank you so much. My name is Deborah Flora, and I'm testifying as a mom and the founder of Parents United America, which represents thousands of parents statewide. I'm asking you to vote yes on HB 261087. This bill reflects numerous recent scientific studies that have debunked the unscientific rush toward transitioning children. A recent Oxford study confirmed that well over 80% of children who experience gender dysphoria naturally outgrow it by adolescence. It also found that those who are transitioned actually have an increase in depression and suicide. This is why the American Medical Association has just joined several other respected medical organizations to call for stopping the transitioning of children. In addition, multiple studies show that children on the spectrum are exponentially more likely to be referred for transitioning. Autistic children only represent 2% of the population, but 35% of those who are transitioned. In fact, the Tavistock Clinic, once the leading gender facility in the world, was closed after it was determined that 97.5% of its children's patients were misdiagnosed. They were on the spectrum or suffering from other underlying issues that were the real cause of their distress. This alarming trend was substantiated by a whistleblower at a St. Louis gender clinic. The New York Times confirmed her report that a disproportionately large percentage of the children they transitioned were misdiagnosed in the same way. This hits close to home. I am the mother of an autistic daughter. I know firsthand how vulnerable this population is. That is why I'm asking you to vote yes on this bill to protect all children who are vulnerable and to reflect the scientific evidence that backs it up. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This question's for Ms. Flora. So by 18 USC 116 law, the U.S. has banned genitalia manipulation. Mutilation, sorry.
No worries.
It's been a long day. Yeah. So looking at the concepts of this, why would we think in Colorado that sex altering for our minors would be okay?
That's a great question.
Who'd like to state your name? Sorry.
I'm sorry, I think she directed it to me, but Deborah Flora, thank you so much.
Thank you. You have to wait till I call on you to speak.
Thank you so much.
Deborah.
I appreciate that,
Go ahead.
Representative. And thank you, Representative Johnson. It's a great question because when you look at that bill, it is currently illegal by federal law to perform any sort of gender mutilation. That is what we're talking about here. This bill would simply put Colorado in line what is already accepted federal policy long before this administration, which shows it is not a political football. In fact, when you look at this, the rules against it, the penalties for genital mutilation is actually 10 years in prison by federal standards. By not passing this bill, you're actually putting the doctors here in Colorado in jeopardy because they're not in line with what federal law says. In addition, it's not just federal law. What is really dumbfounding to me is there is a global movement that is going on understanding the inhumane nature of genital mutilation. We are talking about the UN Human Rights Office is fighting against this barbaric procedure. The World Health Organization, UNICEF, UNESCO, the list goes on and on. It is strange, as someone who loves Colorado and has grown up here as a child and now as a mother, that this state does not understand what seems to be the understanding of the rest of the world. This is inhumane. Coloradans deserve better.
Thank you. Rep. Richardson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I also have a question for Ms. Flora.
For Deborah?
Yes.
For Ms. Flores? Yeah. Okay. Go ahead, Ms. Flores.
Okay. No, I just thank you for sitting through the testimony. I noticed when an earlier witness was discussing informed consent, I saw a reaction. I'd be curious if you could tell me what was going through your mind at that time.
Ms. Flores.
Thank you for your patience with my eagerness. Thank you.
Fine.
And thank you, Representative Richardson. I appreciate that. Informed consent is actually the heart of this matter. I'm sure everyone here on this esteemed panel knows that there are lawsuits occurring throughout the country right now that gets to the heart of informed consent. Most recently, Fox Varian in New York sued and was awarded $22 million. The reason why: she was transitioned when she was 16-year-old, double mastectomy. What this jury found, And this jury, by the way, afterwards said they were not against transgenderism or transitioning. But what they found is when it came to children, there was medical malpractice and a lack of informed consent. In fact, talking to many parents who understandably, out of great compassion, when they are told by doctors that they do not allow these procedures to happen, their options are either a dead son or a live daughter, or a live son or a dead daughter. What is not told to these parents or these actual people that are going through transitioning is what all the other effects are. And I want to list a couple of these because I'm going to share a very personal story of someone I know. They are not told, and this is at the heart of many of these lawsuits now, that the side effects of transitioning, whether it is hormone treatment, whether it is surgical, they are sterility, blood clots, strokes 5 times higher than the normal average, memory loss, early onset of mental impairment, and a recent Dutch study shows that there is premature death as a result of these procedures. In fact, 51% higher for those who are subjected to transitioning procedures medically than the average human being. The leading causes of those 51% higher deaths are heart attacks and suicide. I personally had an opportunity to meet a young woman named Prisha Mosley, one of the most brave human beings I've ever gotten to know. When she was 15 years old, she was dealing with OCD and depression. She was told at that time at 15 by the doctors she did not have the mental capability to agree to liposuction. She was also told at the same time, despite her underlying issues, that she was allowed to agree to a double mastectomy, hormone treatment, and surgical procedures. Prisha Mosley now is dealing with lifelong effects, chronic pain, and a large heart because of the testosterone she was given, and she is facing an early death because of it. She also did not have informed consent. And that is why, by the way, Fox Varian was given not only $2 million, but $200,000 for future treatments. Because people like Prisha Mosley and also Fox Varian are told, yes, your insurance will cover your transitioning. But when they have reached out for help with detransitioning, which doesn't even actually exist now they've gone through these treatments, they're told that no one will cover their medical expenses. When you get to the heart of it, we are opening our doctors in Colorado to malpractice suits, to suits like the one in New York that were about a lack of informed consent. I plead with you on the behalf of parents who have had their compassion weaponized, who've been told only one side of it when actually suicide goes up after transitioning, and they're not told about the lifelong effects. This is a humane bill. It is in line with what is happening across the country. And as someone who grew up in Colorado, I do not want to see Colorado once again bucking the trend that everyone else is coming to through the science.
Thank you. Representative Bradley.
Thank you, Madam Chair. You're on the hot seat, apparently. So, no, you and I have fought for parental rights for quite a long time. We've known each other for a long time. Informed consent, it would be a different story if parents were given informed consent and they're not, and we're not doing no harm. My question is, this takes it a step further because we're taxpayer funding this, and I wanted to get your thoughts on that.
Ms. Flores.
Flora.
I waited this time. Thank you so much.
Sorry.
No worries. That's a great question because the reality is when we are looking at this situation, there are numerous instances where there's not only not informed consent, parents are not included in it, parental rights are violated. The bill that Representative Johnson was talking about not only allows children to go into medical care. I don't know about you, but as a parent at 12 years old, they started taking my children in without me, but I protested and took them to another facility. Children are able to use your insurance that you pay for, and you do not know what the procedures are. There's also a counseling bill that came along right when we discovered our daughter had late diagnosed autism. Here in Colorado, when I wanted to take her to a counselor because she was having anxiety attacks and we did not know the heart of it, I could not take her to anyone because we had just passed a law here in Colorado that counselors can only advocate for gender transitioning. They can't get to the heart of those issues. Every way you look at this, parental rights are being violated in this. And one other fact that has come out in a recent study is that one of the things that drives to higher suicide and depression rates of those who are dealing with gender dysphoria is being pushed into these online groups that begin to foment their movement towards this. And they found, once again, something that we have known throughout all history. The thing that helps them most through this is making sure that their parents are involved and engaged. That right has been taken away from parents in this state in many ways, and that is why this bill reestablishes it. Colorado's behind the curve. We're going to have a lawsuit here just like we had in New York, and we're going to be shown once again to be on the wrong side of this issue.